Welcome back to our podcast, guys. It's been a long day for us, but we're going to be doing this today because we've not podcast for weeks.
Yes.
We're excited. Our first episode aired today, so we're excited to finally keep on the season 2 of our Unfiltered Faith podcast. Today's podcast is going to be on the movies that I guess to us connect to the Christian faith in some way, which was an idea that came from episode 4. This is episode 5, I believe, of the season, which is crazy. But we thought it would be neat. I think we mentioned, what movie did we mention? It's been a month.
Was it Lion King?
Was it?
Lion King,
Yes, it was Lion King.
I think we
thought it was
mentioned
a
Lion
Christmas
King.
movie. No?
No, so I think I mentioned the fact that Zimmer, who is the one that wrote the music for Lion King, not the lyrics.
Oh, like a requiem? I remember now.
He was used
Hmm.
it as a requiem for his own father who passed away when he was little. So anyways, we're back. We all chose one movie. We kind of had some parameters that we had to follow. One, it can't be obvious in the nose of it's Christian, so like we're not gonna pick
Not Courageous or
Passion of the Christ,
War Room or God Not Dead.
Not the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah. The second thing, we kind of didn't really follow this, but we did follow it because I kind of want to do a second one with something different. But we're going to do live action or live action style movies today. Maybe later we can do animation movies. So we kind of
Just by coincidence, we just picked live action by coincidence, right?
By coincidence,
That's true. Yes.
And then third, no Christian event, has to happen in the actual movie. So like it can't revolve around Christmas or Easter. So no Die Hard.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas.
Yeah, or no, like Ben-Hur, which is like it's not in the Bible, but there's like Bible events happening in it, which I really
one?
like.
Yeah.
Ben-Hur, you never watched Ben-Hur?
No.
Ben-Hur.
No.
It takes place during the life of Jesus, and it has his resurrection in there, his death and resurrection. It's a good.
I was thinking more like with the animation, like Hunchback of Notre Dame is like based on people that live in a church. It's very like on the nose, like Christian aspects of it. You can only pull stuff out of that. That's kind of what I meant by like it can't be like
or like you said, the Prince of Egypt, or what is that? The Joseph, and the multicolor
in his
coat, whatever
color jacket.
I don't remember the exact title of the movie, but
But anyways, we did choose.
Oh wait, it's called Joseph, King of Dreams. I just remembered.
King of Dreams. Oh,
it's like
you're right.
That was
DreamWorks.
DreamWorks
did that
movies.
as after Prince of Egypt, which Prince of Egypt was one of my favorite movies growing up. I watched that.
And I was thinking
you
were thinking of Joseph and the Technicolor one.
Oh, the musical.
The musical.
No, but that's live action. I was thinking of animation.
I recently heard about that musical. I didn't know anything about it actually.
Yeah, same guy that wrote Jesus Christ Superstar. Wait, is it the same guy?
I was like, no, Andrew Lloyd Webber?
I don't think it's Andrew Lloyd Webber now. I could be wrong. I think it is. Anyways, that's the point. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about live action, non-Christian movies that may have a hidden Christian message. That's essentially what we're looking at. And we all picked one movie. I choose to go last.
Oh my goodness.
So
you go last.
Wow.
Hey, you guys didn't speak up, so. So between lady or gentleman?
Wow.
Ladies first. Obviously.
Oh my goodness. So I'm going to set the tone for this whole entire podcast?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I selected the movie Star Wars: The Revenge of the Sith, which is episode 3. I have always been a huge fan of it. I know in the Star Wars community, people look down on that episode because they don't like Anakin's character, they don't like the actor, or blah blah blah, etc., etc. They just don't like that movie and the whole Star Wars saga. But personally, it has always been one of my favorite Star Wars episodes. And I think part of it is because I did see Christian aspects of the movie whenever I watched it as a kid. It came out in 2005, and I think I was like, well, I know I was in fifth grade or some around that age. So I must have been like 10 years old, maybe, yeah, like 9 or 10 when the movie came out. And so at that point in my life, I kind of saw everything through the Christian lens because my parents would always ask us, so what was the message of the movie? Every single time we went to the movies, it didn't matter if we were watching like Blades of Glory or like Benchwarmers or yeah,
That's why.
or what's Napoleon Dynamite?
Point of the movie is to
Dumb and
warm up
Dumber?
the bench.
Yeah, or
Dumb
even
and
like
Dumber. What's the
Napoleon
message of the
Dynamite
movie?
or I kid you not, any movie that we watched,
Some brainless movies.
they always, yes, those kind of movies that, you know, they just make just so that, you know, you can have a laugh. But they would always ask us, what was the message of the movie? So as I watched these movies, every single one of them, I would always keep in mind that my parents were going to ask me that question. So then I would always try to find some sort of meaning in the movie that I watched. So for Star Wars, there's the obvious like battle between the light, right, and the darkness, between the good and the bad.
The Force.
Well, yeah, sure, the Force, if you will.
The dark and the light side of the Force.
The dark,
Yeah, sorry,
the
yeah.
dark side and the light side of the Force. So you can connect that, you know, that's, to me, that's obvious that you can connect it to Christianity or to spirituality, I should say. When we think of like, you know, the enemy, the devil, Satan, and then when we think of the Holy Spirit, or even, you know, the Trinity, God, Son, and Holy Ghost. So that's one aspect of it, and just how like the Jedis would connect to the Force. As I was saying, you can see that the Jedis, they have some sort of connection to the Force, which I guess when you're a Jedi, then you have a connection more to the good side of things, which I always related that to the Holy Spirit. And then like people with Anakin that are struggling with, you know, finding their place. They were born to be a Jedi, but they fall into temptation, they fall into the darkness, and so then, you know, he turns evil. He turns his life over to the dark side, which in real life you can see that as someone, you know, stepping away from their Christian faith or turning their life around, not turning their life around, but turning away from Jesus and turning into the darkness, following, you know, Satan's evil ways and other plans that were not for them, because that's how it is in Christian life, or you know, in life in general. Everybody on this earth has a purpose, which you could see that in Star Wars. There's people that, you know, they say they're the chosen one, whatever. So we are the chosen generation, right? And we have a purpose. And so those Jedis, they had a purpose, but in life, like, we can connect with the Jedis because we also have to say, or we have to think, do we want to follow the good side? Do we want to follow the dark side? And even though like Anakin went and he started, you know, acting as Darth Vader, he fell into the dark side. You can see that he has some sort of like redemption too, which in a way, it could be like a redemptive story because of the love that he had for Padme and how he like wants to protect her and
Yeah.
all these things.
Well, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop you there. I agree. There's like that aspect of predestination, I guess, and like you were supposed to be the chosen one, right? Where he was predestined to be the savior of I don't remember the Republic or whoever
But
was in charge.
but the high but because Obi-Wan had the high ground, that ruined everything, of course.
Yes. Oh yeah. But he had choice. He made the choice.
Yeah.
And you can argue that it was the evil one playing tricks because at the end of the day they did kind of play tricks with his mind.
Yeah.
Darth Sidious, yeah, was
It's
really as an
it's
evil
that it's
influence.
that
Yeah.
force, which it could be seen as
Uh,
like I was talking about like the darkness or like Satan and his evil ways, but it's also like a power, which in real life too there's good power, but there's also bad power. Which that's another movie that comes to mind when
Yeah.
of Spider-Man whenever what's his name?
Uncle
Uncle
Ben.
Ben.
Uncle Ben,
Uncle Ben.
he tells Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility. And like that's true. And so you can see that in Star Wars as well. Like they have the responsibility to, protect an entire galaxy
Power.
or completely destroy it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think with looking at Anakin's story, his transition from Anakin to Darth Vader, like there's a lot of interesting steps he takes along the way to actually step completely into the dark side. And I really think
yes.
grief and fear were really
Oh, for
powerful
sure.
to move
Yes.
him in that direction. Because obviously he had the grief of being taken away from his mother when he was a child, like
Mm-hmm.
he was in slavery, and then his mother dies, and I think you remember that was in the one movie before then. He has all this
Yeah.
rage and anger, and now he has the fear of losing Padme,
Yeah.
and he's allowing this fear to
Yes.
consume him, and that's like he lost his trust, he lost his faith in the light completely, and that's when he really moved towards the dark side, and he was vulnerable to allowing like Darth Sidious to really manipulate and influence him to move him into the dark side.
We
Yeah.
actually got
What
a
say?
good message this past week on this actually, where some of the worst things that could happen to a Christian is the gradual moving away,
Mm-hmm.
where before you know it, you're so far away. And the analogy he used was like when you go to the beach and you get in the water and you're so distracted, you're having fun, you're dipping in, you're dipping out, and you're talking to a friend or whatever. By the time you turn around, like, hey, where's my stuff? And your stuff is
Yeah.
like all the way to one side.
Because the current just, it
Yeah,
takes you.
yeah, it gradually moves you
It
that you don't
subtly just
notice.
moves you away.
Yeah, you don't
Mm-hmm.
notice that you have moved so much, and I think that is a good representation of his life. Is that he never intended from the beginning to be in the dark side per se, but like Wolf said, there were so many things happening in his life that gradually he was just feeding his anger, he was feeding his fears, and he's just one day ended up where he was. So.
Yeah.
Good example, Amadeus.
Thanks.
Good
I was
example.
gonna say that some of the things that Wolf mentioned about Anakin's spear, they were actually in my notes, but like I don't know what happened to that portion of my notes. But what I did find was that I did write where is it? Hold on. Something about the fear as well.
That's where the Bible
Um,
talks about do not fear a lot. God has not given us a spirit of
yeah.
Yeah.
fear. He's
Oh,
given
that
us
the
a
order's
lot.
rigid rules and the fear of attachment led to Anakin's downfall, mirroring the idea of the fall of humanity from a state of grace through disobedience. So, like, also like the orders, like the rules, that reminds me a lot of like the My goodness, why am I drawing a blank? The Philistines. Is that it? Is that
Yeah.
the no. Yeah, like legalistic people, and their
Yeah.
rules. Um, that kind of makes us turn over to fear in like a negative way, and where we just fear like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna sin, or oh my gosh, I'm gonna fall, and like he was like Anakin was kind of struggling with that. And I mean, I feel like some of us, especially if we grew up that way in more of a legalistic culture, then we have that same fear, like that we're gonna fall and we're gonna fail, and like ultimately, like it does lead us to sin.
Yeah. I
All
agree.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, of
Okay.
having the fear instead of faith and trust. That's
Uh
good.
huh. Instead of like the grace that comes with being a Christian, with the act that Jesus did for us.
Yeah.
Wolf,
Good. Well,
you
I
chose
obviously,
the Barbie movie. Is that right?
yeah, the Barbie movie.
How,
There's just so many
Ken,
good things in there.
how Ken had his redemption.
Yeah, Ken, I'm on.
Ken did.
I'm just, I didn't understand why Barbie didn't like Ken. I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm
for
just
real
kidding.
though.
No, no, I'm just, I was wondering in the movie, but that's not the movie I picked. I only seen the Barbie movie once. I saw it like a few months ago. I was like, oh, okay. But my
Really?
actual
You
movie,
didn't see it when it came out?
what?
You didn't
No,
see it when it came
I
out?
waited. No, I waited months to watch it.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw Oppenheimer when it came out. Um,
Oh, he
Uh,
did tell us
we
that.
haven't seen
We haven't
Oppenheimer.
seen it.
that's the one you need to watch. That was a good
Well,
one.
to
But
be fair, though, we're parents are four girls, so
yeah,
we kind of
yeah,
had
it
to
is
watch
kind
the
of
Barbie
rated. It's
movie.
rated R, I think, Oppenheimer,
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
wow. Yeah.
I think.
It's kind
Okay,
of
but
tougher to watch movies like that.
it
yeah.
is.
But anyways, I picked a movie that came out in 1999. Some
Whoa!
of you, yeah, this is an
I
old
mean,
one.
we
I
were
don't,
alive.
Before the
we were
Y2K,
alive.
I
Yeah,
think
we
I
were
was like,
alive.
what, 5 years old?
You were
you were
five
six.
or six. You
I
were
was five.
five turning six.
Five
You
turning
were
six.
five turning six.
What Wolf
Yeah,
said.
five turning six at the end of the year. But this movie, The Matrix, was a really like a revolutionary sort of movie, I think, for its time in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
To me, there were a lot of hidden messages and aspects of faith that
Mm-hmm.
were really built into the movie. One of those things I will start off is like obviously if you've seen the movie, Neo was supposed to be the one, or he was supposed to be becoming the one. But sometimes, such as with faith, we're believing in something that is unseen. For Neo in the movie, he had to believe in something he could not see when he was actually in the Matrix. Because to him, the Matrix and the real world seemed very similar, but he had to believe and something he couldn't see. He had to believe in trusting in a higher truth or a divine plan to really become the one. Which yeah, I hope, help him not. Obviously, if you still haven't seen it to this point, it's going to be spoiled, obviously. But
Yeah.
yeah, he obviously becomes the
It's
one
been
in the
26
movie.
years,
Uh,
so
I know. My brain just thinks that way. I can't help it about like it could be like 40 years. I'm like, you hope you've seen the movie. But
yeah.
um, I just think that way. I can't get out of it. Yep. So we have this concept of Neo becoming the one, and it really takes him to have a belief or faith in something that is not seen. There's
Mm-hmm.
even a moment in The Matrix. This is one of the scenes that I remember when I watched it. He's trying to learn how to really use his abilities in The Matrix, and he was talking to this kid, and this kid was able to like bend this spoon and like move it around. And then the kid was like trying to help him. He was telling Neo, he's like, you don't try to bend the spoon. You need to realize there is no spoon. So you're having a faith or belief in something that you don't see. So the
Yeah.
spoon isn't real. But obviously, the Matrix is it requires faith to accept the truth of the real world. So in the Matrix, you had to believe that this world isn't real. This, echoes a lot of the faith that we have, that you believe in a world that you can't see. You believe in a spiritual realm. You
Right.
believe in heaven, even though you can't see it, you're believing in a higher reality. So that's something that's really evident, I think, in The Matrix.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Yeah.
actually I heard I think he was a comedian, and he was talking about how he has an atheist friend who believes that we are living in a simulation, which is it comes
Hmm.
that comes from the idea of the Matrix because since then a lot of people believe that we are living in a simulation, and he's like it's very weird because he believes that we live in a simulation, and he believes there's a higher architect that created the simulation and placed us all in the simulation and is watching us. And he's like, doesn't that really just kind of connect to Christianity? It's like
Yes.
we're just a little step ahead of his made up story. Like we actually have the architect in our belief system and all that. So,
Yes.
so yeah, it connects a lot. It really does.
Yes.
Because
It
they,
it also no, go ahead.
no, go for
Well,
it.
I was gonna say it also kind of reminds me of the scripture that says, we are from or part of this world, but we're not from it, right? We're not a part of this world. Wait, did I say that right? I did not say that right.
It's okay. We are. We.
You get me?
I think
We
we're
live.
worse than you.
But Wolf can say it correctly because I
You're
can't.
putting me on this. I believe you're saying you're trying to reference like we live in the world, but we're not of the world.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
We live in the
okay.
world, but we're not of the world because I mean that's kind of how he was. What was his name? Neo. He
Yeah.
he was here, but he really wasn't here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. I understand what you're saying because he realized, oh, I'm in the Matrix. This world isn't real, but I understand the truth. I understand the
Hmm.
real world. So there's a lot of unique themes, I think, in the Matrix about showing faith, belief, and it's even interesting. Like Zion, the last human city, is actually obviously is what the city is called, the last like
Yeah,
city, and obviously in the
in the
Bible that
Bible.
means like
Hmm.
heaven or God's kingdom or something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then what's cool in the Matrix, a lot of time, well, you see what happens is they actually get, when they get unplugged from the Matrix, it's kind of like they're born again and they come into
Yeah,
the real world,
that's
Yeah.
which I
true.
think has some faith. You can connect that with faith of like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
oh, you're awakened once you're born again.
And
You're
correct me if I'm
unplugged.
wrong. There's
Yes.
like a battle that happens in that like outside of the Matrix, right? There's a battle going on, or am I incorrect
Yes.
about that?
Yes. Yes, there is a battle going on. Don't ask me to. I haven't seen the other films
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
much as the first one.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. No.
first
No.
one
No.
is the first one deals more with what's happening in the Matrix. The next films like part two, three, and four, they deal more of the
Yeah.
battle that's going on with
Hmm.
the AI that's taken over and using humans like batteries.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Great example.
That is a good one.
I have a great example too.
Do you?
I'm gonna care. Well, yeah, I have no idea what movie you're gonna pick.
I am going to pick A Quiet Place.
Oh,
Oh,
it's been a long time since I've seen
oh,
that.
I just love that movie. Yeah.
Yes. We actually recently watched A
The
Quiet
second
Place
part, yeah.
2. We It's been a while. It came out in 2018, so if there is spoilers. Well, it's been 7 years.
You had time. I gave you a warning for 26 years.
See,
Yeah.
Make
and
sure
I was thinking about that too, about Star Wars, that it's not a new movie, but you know what?
20
Since it's
years.
been 20 years and it's the
Yeah.
20th anniversary, maybe some people are watching it for the first time because it's kind of hyped right now.
Yeah.
So,
And
oops.
which, by the way, going back to your point, yeah, it was disliked, but it's now liked a lot. Like the actor that played,
There was redemption for
yeah,
him.
there was redemption for
What's
the
his
actual
name?
actor.
Christian
Hayden,
Hayden.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Boy, his name's even Christian.
Because all the people, us kids, that watched the third episode are now adults, and
We love it.
Yeah,
it.
we love the third episode.
I
It's
love
one of
the
my-
third episode.
It's one of my
That's
favorites.
where
if
the
not my
wedding
favorite.
happens,
Yeah.
right? I love weddings.
Yeah, I forgot to address that. Like how some people like don't like the third episode. I think it's one of my favorites, if not my
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah, it's one of my
I
favorites.
think most millennials like it. It's because when it came out, the adults then were Gen X, were still,
They hated it.
still boomers, but people that grew up with the
Original.
The original
episode 4,
trilogy.
5, and 6,
Yeah.
and they didn't like episode 1 because of Jar Jar.
I
Yeah.
love Jar Jar Binks.
They didn't like episode 2.
You're a minority.
I also love Darth Maul, and we never saw him again.
Well, you see him in the animation again. Not the point. My movie is A Quiet Place. There's a lot actually in the horror industry of movies. There's obviously good versus evil happening in those. I mean, I think most movies have kind of that. But in this one, in particular, especially when you talk about survival movies, there's kind of like that unseen faith, like living in a broken world, trying to survive in a broken world, but now it's more of a physical evidence that it's broken, right? So we have the family, which I don't remember his name, but is the guy from The Office.
John Krasinski, my
John.
boy.
We'll call him John. I can't say his name.
John.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't say his last name, but John's family, they're kind of navigating. They have a girl, a daughter, right, who has impaired hearing. So that also connects to the fact that our disabilities or things that maybe sometimes we see as a disability ends up actually being a blessing to us.
A
and
strength.
A strength. So she kind of sees that as like the light shining in the darkness. And that kind of helps her be able to detect dangers, but also like she has that special ability that most people don't have because
I'm glad you said special ability because first you said disability.
well, yeah, I mean, it's a special ability because we're so dependent in our hearing and
Right.
in our eyesight, and she's more focused on
Her other
senses. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I think a lot of us are like that. And you spoke
Yeah.
about we've spoken about other stuff in this podcast that maybe we saw as disabilities or things that were bad for us that eventually became something that either is now our testimony or at the end it just worked out and now we can move on through that. So
Yeah, it's like a point
The
of
weakness
growth.
became our strength. Yeah.
Yes.
Weakness becomes a
Yeah.
strength.
That and we had growth through the, I guess, like the trials and tribulations or the obstacles that came our way.
yes. So them moving through alertness in a dangerous world, and trusting in what they can't see, and not knowing if they're going to be able to survive, not knowing if they're going to have shelter. I mean, all that stuff also connects to for us living by faith and not by sight. Like we have to almost sometimes live day by day and say, okay, I might not see the end of the tunnel, but I know God has us in His hands. And that's another point that I think not just this movie, but a lot of survival movies can connect to, is that they are struggling in a broken world, but again, they're just surviving. And then connecting this specific movie to another acknowledgement to Christianity is the sacrifice of the Father, which I don't know if you've seen the movie.
Spoiler alert.
It's been a long time. It's been years,
Yeah, but the father giving up or laying down his life for his family, right? Which again, big connection. And John is his name. John 10:11 says, "The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep." Same way, John Krasinski
Yes.
lay down his life for his family so that his family would have survival and would have hope and hopefully survive, which we do see that in the second movie. But yeah, there's a lot of connections to it, I guess. And again, I think the survival horror genre can have some connections to it, but this one specifically did have that meaningful scene of the father giving himself for his family. So,
Very touching and emotional, powerful scene.
yes, yes, especially if you
Great
watch The
scene.
Office. Which is a prequel to this movie.
The Office is a prequel. Oh my gosh. Oh my, wow.
But anyways, yeah, that's my movie that I wanted to connect to some Christian beliefs. I did have other scriptures, but you guys didn't use a lot of scriptures, so
I had them. I had some written down, but like I said, it's because my notes were on my phone, and my phone is being used, for the camera. So then I had to switch to my iPad, and I don't think everything like changed to the iPad. So I was like, oh man.
I do have one more scripture that I was going to put, which is Proverbs 17:28. It says, "Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues," which connects to the power of silence in the movie. Again, there's times where we can hear God's voice in the silence, like Elijah and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's my movie. I don't think. I guess I am. I never thought myself as a horror person.
You are, yeah, you really are.
But I guess I
like horror movies.
Those are like, you like thrillers.
I like survivals.
Thrillers.
Yeah, thrillers.
Did you like Bird Box too? Did you like Bird Box?
He likes thrillers.
Yeah. I did like Bird Box. Yeah, so like I guess I'm not watching like.
Have you seen Premonition?
No.
It's very similar to Bird Box. It's also Sandra Bullock. I think you would like it. I liked it.
Yeah. I guess you're right. It's more thriller than horror because I'm not into Annabelle or like haunting movies.
The Chucky and Scream and all that.
No.
I mean,
because those are considered like original
actual
horror movies.
Yeah.
Like
you guys don't you want to watch The Conjuring or something like that?
No, and I think you gotta also like there's boundaries. I would say. I mean, for me at least, there's boundaries with those movies. I used to watch them. I don't watch them so much now. I do feel that even though the ones creating them may think it's a false thing, you're still playing with something that could possibly be demonic stuff. And sometimes most of the time maybe it's not, but sometimes it is.
I don't like it where the evil wins in the movie. I don't like that.
No, that's...
Or evil wins, like it shows like evil has the greatest power.
The times where there's like no conclusion, and then at the end it says based on a true story. It's like.
I think also as a parent, my mind has also like evolved a little bit more with my mindset of like, okay, maybe not every movie should be watched just to be watched, right? I think of movies like Wolf of Wall Street. Like I love
Leonardo
DiCaprio, but I remember watching. I think we watched like 10 minutes and we stopped it. I was like, okay, I forgot what it was, either Wolf or Amadeus.
It was me, but we weren't even married yet. We didn't have kids or anything. I think. Just as Christians, as young Christians, we kind of knew like, okay, this is going too far. It's showing too much, and like it's just not. It didn't align with our principles. It didn't align with our convictions. So we were like, maybe not.
Yeah,
it is a lot in that movie.
But if it's zombies, well. I'm okay with that.
I don't know why, but Urban loves zombies, like zombie movies,
zombie movies,
zombie
shows,
zombie games.
Like all the zombie shows we've watched. Like,
yes,
just name them: The Walking Dead, The Last of Us. What's some?
Yeah.
There's a few more.
What's
All of
the
Us Dead.
All
What's
of
the
Us
other ones?
Dead?
All of Us are
We watched
Resident
the
Evil.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Resident Evil. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many. Yeah.
Well, we watched World War Z at some
Yeah.
World War Z is
point.
What's
good.
that one that is like a
Have you seen I
comedy,
Am
but
Legend? Of course, huh?
Oh,
Zombieland?
Zombieland.
The
Zombieland.
movie.
Yeah, that one's good. Part
Zombieland.
two, that was funny. Part one and two were both funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we went on a tangent on our likes and dislikes on movies, but
You did.
yeah, I did. Sorry. Thank you guys so much for watching the podcast. We are gonna have more stuff. This is the 5th episode, I believe. So we have more episodes to come this season. We are trying our best to post on social media. We ourselves all have individual projects that we all worked in. So we kind of try to do our own thing, but also this together. So hopefully you guys are watching all that. I know Wolf is doing great things on social media. He's become a little bit of a love-hate character on some.
Oh, you're talking about my acting? You may have seen me in some of my acting videos. They're
Some of your
floating
active
around
videos,
out there.
yeah. He blew up. He blew up. So if you haven't seen his, go look for him. I'm sure you'll find him eventually. And me and Amadis are doing our own thing as well with worship. So I'm sure we'll tag ourselves somewhere. So thank you guys so much for listening or watching us. Make sure you subscribe and like and share. We don't make any money out of this, so at least not for now. But hopefully one day we can at least pay the light bill.
We can get new microphones at work.
We'll get new cameras, like mics, everything.
Yeah, or we can fly Wolf over here and actually
Whoa.
record. And
We should
watch
do one
it
in
together.
person soon. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do one in person soon.
Yeah.
We'll do one.
Oh my goodness.
We also have to invite someone this season, so we are looking into that. Hopefully, maybe I don't know.
An invite, special guest.
Special guest. Okay, well, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.